Hello and welcome to episode 1 of Droning On with Altius Images. I'm Todd Dudley and I'm the founder and director of Altius Images, and in this Droning On series I'll be interviewing people in the drone industry. Today I'm delighted to be chatting to the CEO of Drone Safe Register, Mark Boyt. Enjoy the podcast. I'm delighted to be joined by CEO of Drone Safe Register, Mark Boyt today. Mark, how are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you, Todd. How's things?
Yeah, really good, thank you. Really good, RN, thank you. So before we sort of dive into what you're up to these days, if we can get a bit of background on you, that'd be great. So what made you get into drones at the start of it all, and how long have you been into them?
Drones, really a career change. I'd actually been running dealerships. I've been in the motor trade for many years, and I think whether it's a midlife crisis or not, but I just got bored, and I've always been fascinated with stabilised imagery.
Okay, yeah.
And made the break to become a qualified drone operator.
I see.
Then obviously realised that there's more people acting illegally than legally.
Yeah.
And there was no safe platform that existed for members of the public to obviously find drone operators that are legal and obviously insured. So that's the idea of Drone Safe Register was born.
I see. Okay, and when was that then? When did you start the register?
The idea dates back to 2014, but we actually launched November 2015.
Okay, I see. So it all got going pretty quickly. And did you, before the register existed, did you start out doing any work yourself? And if so, what kind of work?
I still have a very small production company, but obviously my commitments with Drone Safe Register means I very rarely get to fly these days. And obviously I'd much rather concentrate finding our members work than myself work, you know?
That's very good of you. That's very good of you. So, touching onto Drone Safe Register a bit more specifically, can you explain to the listeners what exactly the platform is?
So, Drone Safe Register, we are the UK's largest network of professional drone operators. So very carefully and obviously with some hard work over the last 4 years, we built up a network of extremely professional operators. So we can now offer like a nationwide service. And lots of our members are working with each other as well, which is very rewarding. I think our last survey, 60% of our members are actually networking and working with each other, which is really, really great. And I say, when you've got a network like that full of professionals, and I say we've got some very early adopters of the industry as well, it becomes quite powerful.
For sure, yeah, for sure. It seems like a great platform to be a part of. You mentioned there a couple of times being a professional drone pilot. I'm sure most people listening to this probably do understand that process, but can you just outline that process of becoming a professional or approved pilot just briefly, just so people understand?
So as I say professional, we only invite people that have a CEA permission. So that's a permission which has been granted by the CEA, and we also obviously invite people to be insured as well. So anyone hiring one of our members knows that they have the CEA permission and they're insured. We also display joining dates as well. And we're just about to roll out DBS checks as well throughout our network. So, we hope in certainly 12 months' time, everyone will be DBS checked, insured, and have a CEA approval as well. So, but to obtain your training, if anyone that listens to this wants to get trained, just go to our website and look on the homepage at the top, training providers. You'll see a list of all the top UK CEA-approved training centres. And it's worth getting in contact with them because that's the best place to start the journey.
And the website will be linked below, so just click through there if you want to have a look.
Thank you. Yeah.
No problem. So you mentioned briefly why you think it was needed, and a lot of that was because you thought there were more sort of illegal operations going on. How much do you think that's changed now? Do you think it's getting better? Do you think it's getting worse? Do you think we're about the same, or what do you think?
I would say it's probably got worse recently. The problem we have is the CEA, obviously write the law. So the police have to enforce it, and not much enforcement is actually going on at the moment. But the risk to drones hasn't been, or say risk to members of the public or injuries hasn't been very high. So it's probably not a priority at the moment for police forces to police it. Obviously police forces are underfunded anyway. So it goes back to the fact you've got a guy flying his drone near a town centre, or you've got someone that's just been mugged in the street, or shoplifters just stolen something out of the local Sainsbury's. So that's the problem we've got. So there is still sadly lots of people operating, and again, people just don't know. We come across quite large companies hiring drone operators that that shouldn't be because they haven't got permission and they haven't got insurance.
And just sort of jumping around a little bit, but when the Gatwick fiasco from, I think it was Christmas 2018, wasn't it? When all that popped up, there was a lot of people that said to me, "Oh, that must be a nightmare for you guys because it gives drones bad reputation," that kind of thing. And actually, selfishly, I sort of thought at the time, it actually might make regulations a little bit stricter, which might make it more difficult for people that aren't qualified to fly drones. So actually, I didn't see it as necessarily a bad thing. What was your take on it? Do you think we but do you think an event like that actually might help us because it will make the laws a little bit more strict and a bit more enforced?
Yeah, the Gatwick was obviously damaging for the industry. Clearly, massively, damaging for the industry. And as I say, my views on it is I was undecided. Then I was decided there was a drone, and then I'm probably undecided now because of events that have happened since then. We had a network meeting where we actually invited the police commander who was in charge of the event, and after he left, I actually thought, there probably was a drone. But following that, some things that we've offered to do to help police forces haven't transpired, and that's where I think there maybe wasn't a drone. So, but no, it hasn't been very good for the drone industry. If I had £1 for every person that says, "Oh, were you the guy flying at Gatwick?"
Me too.
But as I say, I'll be a very, very wealthy guy. But hopefully that's behind us now. But it just goes back to the fact people just need to understand how helpful and useful drones can be used correctly by the right operators.
Yeah, for sure. And then just diving in a little bit into a bit more detail, I noticed on your website that you've recently launched the schools program, the drone school program.
Yes, Drones for School.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about that and how it's been received, how it's going?
Drones for School was really, it's really members going into a school and just explaining to them how a drone works and how it can be used safely, and obviously all the various applications for drones. So it's a course that we had made. I think we've had about 160 schools take advantage of it, and it's also been a very good opener for our operators to get very known, well known in their community as the local CEA approved drone operator.
Okay, that sounds like a great initiative and a great idea.
Yeah. It's rolled out very well.
Good, excellent, and that's just going to keep going, I assume, in 2020.
Yeah, as I say, all members have got the access to the material. Obviously, it's not a paid for service. But on the back of it, we've had lots of schools booking pilots for
I'm sure
sort of like aerial school photos and stuff, and many members of the school, obviously the pupils, the parents, have been made aware of what drone technology can do, because obviously they all have businesses as well.
For sure. And for anyone that's listening, that is a qualified pilot but is not a member of Drone Safe Register yet, can you just explain a little bit about the benefits you get as a member? Because it's not just maybe getting a bit of work. There are plenty of benefits. So could you explain that?
There's obviously lots of benefit. We are a business like all drone operators are businesses. So, but as I say, certainly over the last 12 months, we are gaining traction, not just us as an organisation, but as the industry grows. So there's more and more people that want to use drone technology. So we've had our busiest starts the year ever. And we just continue to grow, but we're really growing organically. And it sounds awful, but we're not really looking for new members on a daily basis. We just want to look after the members we've got and build our network organically.
It's a good place to be. That sounds good.
Rather than having thousands of pilots to obviously look after and find work for.
For sure, yeah, for sure.
So there's lots of benefits of obviously joining us. And we'll probably need another podcast for that. But there's so much stuff that goes on within our network, and so many opportunities that members have. It's all got quite exciting, really.
I think 2020 could be a good year for you guys. I think, which should be good.
Yeah, I hope so. But so it started off very well. We just launched 12. I think it's 14 actually. We've added a couple. We've just launched 12 new products. Because obviously our operators don't just specialise in drones. So we just launched 12 new products, which are already gaining traction, and bookings are coming in for them as well, which is good.
Yeah, so that's probably a good point to note, actually. Despite being called Drone Safe Register, you offer sort of ground photography, ground videography, and that kind of thing as well.
Yeah, ground for deal for, but say more specialist stuff. Like we do car camera tracking now.
Mm-hmm.
We've got members that can lift very expensive cinema cameras, so we've added that. We've added FPV filming.
Mm-hmm.
I think FPV filming is certainly a one to watch.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, for sure.
Coming forward, we do 360 tours now. So a lot of members specialise in that type of stuff, elevated Mars photography. So yeah, so it's like a one-stop shop now.
Yeah.
But as I say, well, we're never going to go away from being the UK's leading drone provider at all. It's just capitalising on the
adding
skill
those things
that we've
on.
got obviously within our network.
And then it would be foolish of me to have you on the podcast and not ask you about Dragon's Den. So I'm sure you've been asked a lot about it, but I'm going to ask you about it as well, if that's all right.
I haven't even watched it, but if you watch it, you can see, or you can hear how nervous I was. So Dragon's Den is something I probably wouldn't do again. I changed my pitch just before we're due to go on.
Right.
The idea of my pitch was to be just have a table with drones on it.
Yeah.
And when we're all setting up, you have like a green room and another room, so these desks are wheeled in. And I looked at it and thought, no, I'm not going to blow them away here. So I said to my researcher, I just want to put 4 cones on the floor so they have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
And then obviously just fly the drone through the hallway, through the lift.
Yeah.
And then you turn the drone off. And I remember turning the drone off and looking up and thinking, Christ, where am I? and then obviously you start doing your pitch. So at the start, I was incredibly nervous because obviously if anything would have happened, it's quite a tricky flight to do.
Yeah, that's what I thought watching
indoors. It. But what was quite disappointing is obviously we had to check with them if they're happy with drones to be flown near them. Obviously it was indoors, so it doesn't come under CEA law. But it's always correct just to make sure people were happy, and they were. But no, it was good. It's an incredibly good experience, and for Drone Safe, it's been fantastic because we're now a brand.
Yeah.
Millions and millions, and we're still having work booked today. Bearing in mind we're the 10th of February 2020, and it went out September 18. People are still watching the video now and contacting us and booking our pilots, which is pretty incredible, really.
And you say it sort of turned you into a brand. I think a huge part of that was obviously getting Peter Jones on board, who's my favourite dragon personally, and I'm sure he is for a lot of people. What's he been like since? It's interesting to think about what the sort of first weeks and months after that were like. Was he fairly hands on? Were you just form part of his team?
Peter is obviously a realist. He knows that the industry is, you may say Drone Safe Register was launched 4 or 5 years, well, say it's only 4 years old, but you may say Drone Safe Register was 4 years before its time, because no one knows, or people still don't understand what drones can do and how drones can change people. But Drone Safe Register is still very much my business, but obviously we have the input from him and the expertise of his staff when we need it.
As you say, that's sort of invaluable, really, isn't it? Having someone like that behind you.
Yeah,
I think that's
but
great.
Having him get involved in stuff that when we need him to get involved is, you can't put any value on that. But we didn't go on Dragon's Den for money. We actually went on there for the exposure.
Yeah, for sure.
That's exactly what we got from it.
Yeah,
it's been fantastic. And as I say, people are still phoning us up weekly. What can you do for us? And there's lots of exciting stuff that I can't share at the moment that is going on, but things take time.
Yeah, for sure.
And which is a pain for me because I'm quite an impatient person. But no, it's all going to be really exciting. And I say this is probably one of the most exciting years for us because it's because obviously I know what's going on.
Yeah,
so it's good.
So I'll try and tease out a little bit, if at all possible. What does 2020 have in store for you guys that you can tell us about?
2020 will see Drone Safe Register partnering with some quite big names.
Okay.
And these are people that obviously want fully managed drone deployments throughout the UK. And I say we're also in a very, very unique position because we charge a membership. So Drone Safe Register hasn't got to run off making money from drone flights.
Yeah.
So if you're a big national company and you want lots of work done, we haven't got to put in, we haven't got to put a third or half on top of the drone deployment fee. So the prices we can come up with are obviously quite attractive.
Yeah, for sure.
To people that want lots of obviously drone deployments.
That makes sense. Anything else that you can tell us, or should we leave it there for now and get you on another time?
No, I can share stuff with Claims. Claims is an up and coming disruptive insurance company.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just about to roll out a network of ground responders as well as aerial responders. So that's quite exciting. So that's being rolled out as we speak. That goes live on the 1st of March.
Okay.
But it's amazing how many people phone, and the ideas that people phone you with is incredible. But obviously there's lots of stuff that takes time.
Yeah, for sure.
And that sort of stuff. But why I'm probably going to give up filming so much myself is I just don't have time to do it because of what my workload is daily running Drone Safe on behalf of members, you know?
Yeah, for sure. We'll just go a little bit more general now. Now we've had that dive in on the company. A very general question and a difficult one because I think it's sort of...
Go for it, yeah, go for it.
Sort of as broad as it can possibly be. But what do you think the future holds for drones and for the drone industry?
The future holds for drones. The imminent future is confusion and some pain while the EASA rules are rolled out because they are just too confusing.
Yeah.
I don't think we should even attempt to try and educate the members of the public that want to hire operators what the rules will be because there's so many of them. So I think there will be some frustration, certainly confusion moving forward. You know, enforcement's got to happen. You know, if the CEA can't enforce it because they say the police have to do it, if the police can't enforce it, you know, there really needs to be a third party in enforcing it if we want the industry to grow and also the people that have done the job properly to be rewarded rather than illegal operators keep operating and taking money away from people that have done it properly.
Yeah, okay. And are you optimistic about the future, or do you worry that all of this legislation and all of the rules and all the ever increasing paperwork there seems to be, are you worried that might put people off, or? No,
not at all. You know, at the end of the day, you know, proper people will always want to hire proper people.
Yeah.
So, you know, being a national organisation with a network of highly skilled operators, we are attractive to lots of people because we have a very secure, solid network, and so that you know, moving forward, obviously appeals to lots of people. But you know, people will always want to hire skilled people, and the type of people using our platform. So I'm fortunate enough to see the jobs coming in every day. They're all quite big or well-established people. So no, it's going to be very exciting. The challenge we've got at the moment is for people to use the technology because the technology isn't new. It's just disrupting traditional methods, and that's what's going through. But as I say, we've started off this year double what we were doing last year, and I'm sure the industry is going to grow this year because it's bound to, because it has to and will. What's happened is there's less pilots. So I believe, certainly in peak season, I think we're going to have a very busy industry.
Okay, let's hope so. Hey, let's hope so. And then again looking into the future, as sort of automation and artificial intelligence and all of that kind of thing, as they rise, do you think there will always be a place for a drone pilot, or do you think it could potentially all become automated?
You know, always. You know, that there's always going to be a need for, you know, obviously, a manual pilot. You know, rolling out drone delivery and stuff, we've just got to be so careful with it because if things go wrong, it has a damaging effect on all people in the industry's livelihoods. You know, imagine if drone delivery got launched and it, you know, it did something that it shouldn't have been doing. It's going to hit the press. So any drone delivery and automation has to be rolled out properly, and it, you know, we as operators need to be protected from it. But as I say, you know, that there'll always be a need for having a guy turn up on location with his drone.
I completely agree. So I'm glad you do too, because you know more about it than I do. So that's good. And then, is there an area that the use of drones? Is there an area that drones have been used that sort of surprised you?
Recently, you know, the bits we've had coming on is interesting. Is we've now got people using our network to check on work people have done before they pay final payments.
Oh, okay.
So that's interests me. We've just had one through this morning actually, and I think we had one through on Friday. So these are obviously members of the public that have paid, you know, a construction company or a builder quite a lot a large sum of money to do work, and they're now using drones as like a pre-sign-off.
Ah, that's interesting.
So that's quite interesting. But
Okay.
as I say, property marketing will become bigger. We just need some of the big, some of the big, huge companies just to adopt it, and everyone will follow suit. In America, drone use. I was in the States with my children last summer, and I'd only been there for an hour and already saw 4 or 5 drones being used when we're obviously traveling through the States. So, drone use in the UK in the US is very big, and I think we're always a couple of years behind the US. So, over the next sort of 18 months, I can see a big boom in when people, start using the technology more.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think anyone that has listened to any of the previous episodes of this podcast will probably have noticed that a lot of the stories come out of America. So I think you're absolutely right. They're sort of starting to adopt it more and more, and we're probably just a little bit behind at the moment.
Yeah, but again, and I think lots of people think drone technology is expensive. It's not. If you compare it to other methods, it's not expensive. And as I say, drone technology will become cheaper as the actual drones are cheaper to use, and obviously it's becoming cheaper to obviously get qualified as well. So
yeah, for sure. Okay, and to finish, just a few sort of general, hopefully relatively easy questions to answer, if that's okay.
Yeah.
What is your favourite drone to fly and why?
My favourite drone to fly. My favourite drone to fly. I love dual operation flying. Mm-hmm. So having a very good relationship with a skilled camera operator, so pilot and camera operator. So anything that's got dual operation on is what I enjoy flying. I like flying quite close to things that quite far. So the footage you get is fantastic. But as I say, you must have a decent pilot that can put the drone in the right place. And then obviously you must rely on the camera operator to obviously make the shot.
Yeah, for sure.
So anything that's got dual operation, and I'm first of the queue to have a go.
Okay. And your favourite place to fly and why?
Favourite place to fly? I'm quite fortunate because I live on the south coast, so there's lots of opportunities for flying. The Isle of Wight's lovely. We haven't touched at all on stock footage. We obviously have quite a successful stock footage website. We're also top of Google organically for it.
Oh wow!
So and the struggle we have is members uploading it to the stock, but there's huge monies in stock. I remember a couple of summers ago, me and my camera operator had nothing to do that day. The weather was beautiful. We got permissions and went around the Isle of Wight, and most of it was launching off a boat, but it was fantastic, and it's been really successful, the stuff we got. So it's beautiful on a sunny day flying around the coast. You can't beat it.
So there's another benefit for any members listening. You can upload stock footage to the website and get paid for that as well. If you weren't sure about that,
stock stays with us for life as well. So say for instance, members join us for a year or 2 years or 3 years or whatever. It's a pain. It's a bit like an insurance premium or a pension. It's something that will earn you money over time.
Yeah.
But you've got to. I think when we first launched the website, I spent about a day and a half, 2 days uploading about 350 images.
Right. Yeah.
But as I say, it's there now. It's not going anywhere, and it's selling. So it's just trying to get members to understand the importance that having a drone permission and being in the industry. There is other ways of you can make income and some good income sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. And your most challenging flight, and why was it so challenging?
Most challenging flight, probably Dragon's Den.
Yeah, that's a good one.
The pressure, flying an Inspire 2 down a hallway which is probably about a metre and a bit wide, but having to hover it there for 3 or 4 minutes while I do different cameras, and then going in and landing it, and then I think my shirt was lifting off at the back because obviously when I was in the lift, it got quite turbulent. Yeah. And I'm sitting there thinking, I just want this lift to open, So, but thinking about it, going back to it, if, say something had happened, that would still be on TV. So here's Mark and his safe national drone register, and he takes Deborah Meaden out or Peter Jones out. So without any doubt, that's probably the flight of my life, so to speak. But no, I've done some quite challenging flying before, and I'd much rather have a challenge than fly.
Yeah, agreed. And were you more nervous for the flight or for the pitch?
I think both. Plus, I had no sleep. There was a guy down here, which was in the forces, that sadly took his life through PTSD. And my wife is very close to him, so we were travelling up to Manchester from Chichester, which is a journey in itself.
Bit of a trek, yeah. And
then that obviously come to light. So obviously my wife was very upset. So I didn't actually have any sleep at all the night before. So I was absolutely shattered. But no, it was good to do it. But obviously it's been fantastic for Drone Safe registering members.
Yeah, well, I've watched it quite a few times. You did a great job. It's currently on 2 million views on YouTube, and I'll link it below.
Is that what it is now?
Yeah,
that's good, isn't it? It's not bad,
very good. I'll link it below, and I'll see if we can get you to 2 million and 10.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
No worries. And this is a good one, if I do say so myself. If you could film somewhere or something that you've never filmed before, what would it be? And you don't have to worry about the planning or whether you're actually allowed to fly there or anything like that. It's just what would you film that you haven't filmed before?
I think it's got to be London, only because I enjoy selling stock footage. So some drone stuff of London is always going to win, but some quite tight stuff of London on a nice sunny day or sunrise or sunset would be amazing. If we had a blanket permission to do what we wanted in London one day, I'd be again first in the queue.
And can you just touch on why ordinarily that's so difficult, particularly in London?
Just because obviously you've got restricted airspace and it's such a congested area. And obviously you've got terror threats and all the other bits and bobs that you've got to go around, and obviously finding people that will give you permission to take off as well. Yeah. That's so, but as I say, but London is it's the capital, so it's a very iconic place, and I know how many searches we have for London stock footage. But as I say, you need to get up for sunrise or sunset, and you can really demand what you want for that type of stuff.
That sounds like a good choice to me. And finally, if you could make one change to the industry, what would that change be?
Confusion, updates, the paperwork some pilots have to do, certainly at renewal. If it's going to be enforced, it's great, but again, it's not. So, but I know lots of people are thinking this is just too much, to do for what I'm doing. But as I say, EASA with the new categories will obviously help out on that. But and again, getting permissions to fly near airfields. Our offices. We're just outside the no-fly zone. Our offices in Chichester. Yeah. But if I want to walk 10 metres, it's in the flight. And again, Goodwood Aerodrome is miles away. So that can be a pain. So members are finding that it's not the flight that takes the time; it's all the paperwork and permissions. Yeah. And then you can have someone else doing whatever they want, and it's not enforced. So, So that I can see that there's huge frustration out there in the community for that.
Okie dokie. Well, Mark, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Thank you very much for your time. We really
appreciate it. Absolute pleasure, Todd. Thank you very much.
And good luck for everything that's to come in 2020 that you've told us about and that you couldn't tell us about.
Yeah, no, it's as I say, it should be a really interesting year for us and certainly members as well. But we're always developing. We're always leading, and it's really exciting. I think it's an exciting time for anyone. But sadly, I think there's a little bit of pain around the corner to get some gain. But at the end of it, we should have a really good industry, and it should be growing. We should be further ahead than we are at the moment. But again, hopefully, a little bit of pain will give us some gain, and then it will be a very, very busy industry.
Brilliant. Well, as I said, I'll link the website below, so anyone listening that wants to check that out, please do. If you're an approved pilot and you're not a member yet, go and have a look and see if you'd like to be. But Mark, I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much, and I'll hopefully speak to you soon.
Thanks, Todd. Thanks very much. Have a super day.
Thank you, Mark. You too. So that about does it for episode 1 of the Droning On with Altius Images podcast. Thank you very, very much to Mark Boyt and to Drone Safe Register for their time. For anyone that's listening for the first time, we also release a Drone Positive podcast every single Monday morning, which focuses on positive drone stories. So be sure to subscribe to us anywhere you get your podcasts to make sure you never miss an episode of Drone Positive or Droning On. Please get in touch with us on social media. We are at Altius Images on Twitter and Instagram, and you can also find us easily enough on Facebook, LinkedIn and YouTube. All of the links for our channels are below. We'd love to hear from you, so do please reach out. Thank you for listening, guys. Please subscribe to and share the podcast so that we can spread it as far and wide as possible. We will see you next Monday for episode 8 of the Drone Positive podcast. But for now, fly safe, folks. Bye-bye.